Sehr geehrte Vertreterinnen und Vertreter der nationalen und internationalen Presse- und Medienlandschaft, sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, ich begrüße Sie sehr herzlich hier in der UK 14 zu dieser Pressekonferenz zur Vorstellung der künstlerischen Leitung der documenta 16, die, und auch das steht jetzt fest, vom 12. bis 19. September 2027 hier in Kassel stattfinden wird. Mein Name ist Andreas Hoffmann. Als Geschäftsführer der Documenta und Museum Fridericianum gGmbH heiße ich Sie sehr herzlich willkommen und ich freue mich über Ihr großes Interesse. Wir sind sehr froh darüber, dass es uns angesichts der Herausforderungen seit der documenta 15 und mit einer außerordentlich hochkarätigen Neubesetzung einer internationalen Findungskommission im Juli 2024 gelungen ist, die Weichen zur documenta 16 neu zu stellen. Der ausgezeichneten Arbeit der Findungskommission ist es zu verdanken, dass wir Ihnen in dieser internationalen Pressekonferenz eine künstlerische Leitung für die documenta 16 vorstellen können. Teile dieser Veranstaltung werden in englischer Sprache stattfinden. Wir haben für Sie Kopfhörer bereit, über die Sie die Veranstaltung in einer Simultanübersetzung folgen können. Und ich darf Ihnen zunächst die Anwesenden vorstellen. Zu meiner Linken sitzt der Aufsichtsratsvorsitzende der Documenta und Museum Fridericianum gGmbH, Kassels Oberbürgermeister Dr. Sven Schoeller. Neben ihm der stellvertretende Aufsichtsratsvorsitzende der Gesellschaft, der hessische Staatsminister für Wissenschaft, Forschung, Kunst und Kultur, Timon Gremmels, und als Sprecherinnen der Findungskommission für die künstlerische Leitung der documenta 16 sitzen Dr. Yilmaz Dziewior, der Direktor des Museums Ludwig in Köln, und Mami Kataoka, die Direktorin des Mori Art Museum in Tokio, mit uns auf dem Panel. Herzlich willkommen euch beiden und ebenso herzlich begrüße ich die weiteren Mitglieder der Findungskommission hier in der ersten Reihe, Sergio Edelstein, Gonifal, Vitia Gavivong und Jasmine Raymond im Publikum. Und ich freue mich sehr, dass ihr auch heute noch hier seid. Nach einer Begrüßung durch den Aufsichtsratsvorsitzenden Dr. Sven Schoeller hören wir Timon Gremmels, bevor ich als Geschäftsführer der Documenta und Museum Fridericianum gGmbH den Findungsprozess skizzieren und schließlich auch das Geheimnis und den Namen der künstlerischen Leitung der documenta 16 belüften darf. Im Anschluss daran werden Yilmaz Dziewior und Mami Kataoka die Wahl begründen, bevor sich dann die künstlerische Leitung Ihnen selbst persönlich vorstellen wird und Sie Gelegenheit haben, Ihre Fragen zu stellen. Sehr geehrter Herr Oberbürgermeister, lieber Herr Dr. Schoeller, ich darf Sie herzlich einladen, diese Pressekonferenz zu eröffnen.
Ich danke Ihnen ganz herzlich, Herr Professor Hoffmann, für die einleitenden Worte. Ich begrüße Sie ebenfalls sehr herzlich hier bei uns in Kassel zur Pressekonferenz der Documenta und Museum Fridericianum gGmbH. Wir schauen auf ein sehr intensives, ein sehr arbeitsreiches und ein sehr gutes Jahr für die Documenta in Kassel zurück. Wenn Sie sich mal zurückerinnern, wo wir vor genau einem Jahr gestanden haben, dann werden Sie sich in Erinnerung rufen, dass die Documenta in einer ihrer schwersten Krisen, die sie im Laufe ihres jahrzehntelangen Bestehens durchleben musste, damals durchlebt hat. Es gab nicht wenige, die die Documenta im Prinzip bereits tot gesagt haben im vergangenen Jahr. Wir hatten die Situation, dass die Findungskommission, die damals amtierte, zurückgetreten war und standen vor der Herausforderung einer Organisationsreform der Documenta, die wir angegangen sind. Und wir haben Stück für Stück und Schritt für Schritt diejenigen Dinge, die sich für uns aus der Erfahrung der Documenta 15 ergeben haben, bearbeitet, sind sie angegangen und haben sie umgesetzt. Wir haben Organisationsänderungsempfehlungen umgesetzt und dabei einen partizipativen Weg gewählt. Sie erinnern sich, im vergangenen Jahr haben wir im Hinblick auf die Vorschläge, die die Beratungsgesellschaft Metrum der Documenta gemacht hat, auch die Möglichkeit gegeben, dass die Öffentlichkeit daran teilhat, wie die Documenta in wesentlichen Fragen zukünftig organisatorisch aufgestellt sein soll. Und wir sind diesen Prozess und ich glaube, das hat sich ausgezahlt. Mit Ruhe, mit Besonnenheit und mit sehr viel inhaltlicher Stringenz angegangen. Und das in einem Umfeld, das aufgeregter kaum hätte sein können. Und in einem Umfeld schwerer bis schwerster internationaler Disruptionen. Und es ist gelungen, die Organisationsänderungen in einen Gesellschaftsvertrag zu gießen. Wir haben einen wissenschaftlichen Beirat implementiert und wir haben ihn nicht nur vertraglich implementiert, sondern wir haben ihn dank aufwendiger Arbeit der documenta gGmbH, die hier stellvertretend durch Herrn Hoffmann vertreten wird, auch gefunden. Wir haben Personen gefunden für diesen wissenschaftlichen Beirat, die alle für sich das Prädikat in Anspruch nehmen dürfen, hochkarätig zu sein für dieses Feld, für das sie bestellt sind. Und wir haben auch Änderungen im Aufsichtsrat vorgenommen. Die Beauftragte für Kultur und Medien entsendet 2 Mitglieder des Aufsichtsrats. Sie haben heute in dieser Funktion dann erstmals als Mitglieder des Aufsichtsrats auch an der Sitzung teilnehmen können. Wir hatten eine intensive Debatte, Sie erinnern sich zurück, über die Frage des Code of Conduct. Wir haben uns dazu entschlossen, der documenta gGmbH einen Code of Conduct zu geben. Wir haben ihn ausgearbeitet und wir werden ihn dann in Kürze in der nächsten Zeit auch im Detail vorstellen. Und nur als Vorgriff darauf, weil das, glaube ich, ein Thema von großem Interesse ist, diesem Code of Conduct liegt das feste Bekenntnis zur Achtung der Menschenwwürde zugrunde, eine humanistische Weltsicht, die letztlich und endlich die Grundlage auch für die notwendige und unabdingbare Gewährleistung künstlerischer Freiheit ist und die gleichermaßen Schutz vor gruppenbezogener menschenfeindlicher Diskriminierung gewährt. Wir haben darüber hinaus vorbereitet die Ausgründung des Documenta-Instituts, ein lange gehegtes Projekt. Auch hierüber haben wir bahnbrechende Beschlüsse gefasst, haben auch in einem sehr konstruktiven Miteinander in allen Punkten, das will ich an der Stelle betonen, zwischen Land und Stadt und eben auch mit der Beauftragten für Kultur und Medien in Berlin ein gutes Einvernehmen gefunden, auch für die Entwicklung des Documenta-Instituts als letztlich und endlich die wissenschaftliche Einrichtung, die sich mit zeitgenössischer Kunst auch in Zukunft beschäftigen wird und in Aussicht steht, sich weiterzuentwickeln.
And which will also develop furthermore and become independent in terms of its organizational structure. And the documenta gGmbH also has helped us a lot with respect to the very situation we had last year, so that we managed to find a new finding committee with renowned members and important and expert members, and they have found they have made a first-class choice for the upcoming documenta. This I may tell you already now. We never, ever lost our confidence in documenta, and this has been a shared feeling among all of us, and this has also helped us deal with all these activities and tasks we had to handle this year. The creative power of documenta lives. Documenta is and will be the place where societal and important topics of our times are being discussed with the language of the arts, and is shown in all those fascinating colors of the universe. And we are proud that Kassel, this wonderful city of Kassel, was, and will be the venue of documenta. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank all those who have helped us shape this year successfully for the documenta. This goes for the bodies of documenta, but this also goes for the teams, the staff, the management of documenta, and also all those who are responsible in the land and in the city of Kassel or Hesse, respectively. This involves a lot of work, and it also concerns and goes for the finding committee, which, as I said, has worked very successfully. The finding committee has found an excellent artistic director for the next documenta, a high caliber and highly qualified expert for contemporary art, and at the same time a person who has a very deep understanding of documenta with respect to its history and its social and societal importance today. And what is more, a deep understanding for the legendary site of this legendary exhibition. Thank you very much, and we are really looking forward to hearing who is going to be the next artistic director of documenta. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, I'm relieved today. When on 19th January 2024, I became the minister, the Hessian State Minister for Science and Research, Art and Culture, one of the major tasks was the documenta and my hometown of Kassel and the attempt to make it good again. And let me tell you, I could only do this because there was a lot of confidence in the collaboration of the municipality and the federal state between the Premier of Hesse and the Mayor of the city of Kassel. We have closely collaborated also with Mr. Hoffmann, documenta gGmbH, and also the national government. The federal commissioner and her authority have also been involved. And I mean, we had to face major tasks. We had these expertise on our desks, the expert's opinion, and we had to think about a number of questions. There were different discourses. There were questions concerning the code of conduct, and if the code of conduct should also apply to the artistic director. We dealt with a number of social groups fighting for documenta in the city of Kassel, and we also had those who wanted the end of the documenta or thought that documenta would end soon or die. So in order to work, in order to manage and cope with all these activities, we had to work hard, and this is what we did, and we found clear and good rules and approaches. It was high time, actually, to find this new structure. We also have established a scientific council with important members, and you will learn in the next few days who the members of the scientific council will be. And we've also launched the code of conduct, which will also show what you need to do in order to organize contemporary art in today's societies. And we have also found a finding committee, and this was established only in the month of July this year. I mean, we invited curators who also had a lot of activities in their agendas for this year, and it wasn't easy for them to find the time, 3 times 3 days, in order to work on documenta, but they did it. And this shows that there is a major hope and a lot of confidence with respect to the future of documenta. So I would like to benefit from this occasion in order to thank the Finding Committee also for the many hours you spent on working for Documenta 16. Thank you very, very much. But I would like to also underline once again that Documenta is more than just another contemporary art exhibition. It's an institution which is important, a highlight, and a lighthouse with an importance that goes far beyond the city of Kassel or Germany as a country. It's a place of discourses and the attempt to deal with today's topics with the means of the arts and to keep it and to preserve it in Kassel. That was our task. The Supervisory Board worked hard in order to do this, and now politics have to hand over what needs to be done now to the arts. So it was politics so far, it's going to be the arts and the curators now, knowing that we will always be responsible, always. And we don't want to give away that responsibility. We don't want to give it up. So I'm looking forward to a documenta which is worthwhile looking at. I'm pretty sure that with the decisions we have taken today, we'll be able to prove that Kassel, that Germany, that Hesse are places, venues where you can show modern art, contemporary art with a global idea. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Schoeller, Mr. Gremmels. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to announce the artistic direction of Documenta 16 in a minute, but before I would like to say a few words about the selection process. The choice was made in a three-stage process in 3 meetings of the selection committee in July, November, and the last 3 days in Kassel, Frankfurt, and again in Kassel. The Finding Committee first drew up a long list of internationally pioneering experts in contemporary art and invited them to apply for the artistic direction of Documenta 16. It then reviewed the curatorial concepts submitted and invited a short list of 5 positions to Kassel. In a third step, the candidates presented their curatorial concept for the upcoming Documenta exhibition here in Kassel in person. On the basis of these presentations and interviews, the Finding Committee finally took its decision for the artistic direction of Documenta 16 unanimously at the end of the selection process. With their commitment to the selection committee, Yilmaz Dziewior, Sergio Edelstein, Ngoni Fall, Gritya Gavivong, Mami Kataoka, and Yasmil Raymond have demonstrated a high degree of responsibility for contemporary art and Documenta in these very special times. And I would like to express my sincere gratitude to them for this. The intensive exchange between the members of the Finding Committee has led to a forward-looking choice for the artistic direction. This lays the foundation for us to continue to move forward with determination and anticipation towards Documenta 16 and for Kassel to once again host the art world and its international audience in 2027. As Managing Director of Documenta and Museum Fridericianum gGmbH, I am now able to reveal the secret and announce the name of the artistic direction of Documenta 16. The artistic director of Documenta 16 in Kassel from 12th June to 19th September 2027 is Naomi Beckwith, and she's the Deputy Director and Chief Curator at the Solomon Art Guggenheim Museum in New York, and I'm very happy to have her here on stage with us in a minute.
Ich darf Ihnen, liebe Naomi Beckwith, im Namen des gesamten.
Dear Naomi Beckwith, on behalf of the Documenta team, I would like to congratulate you on your appointment. We are looking forward to the close cooperation with you, and we are looking forward to your Documenta 16 that will take place in 2027 here in Kassel. And it is now my pleasure to hand over to Mami Kataoka and Yilmaz Dziewior. And we would like to ask them to explain the selection of the finding committee.
Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of the Documenta Finding Committee, consisting of Yilmaz Dziewior, Sergio Edelstein, Ngone Fall, Gritia Kawiwon, and Yasmin Raymond, and myself, we are pleased to just complete this challenging task. And as everyone is aware, the document is, of course, the contemporary art exhibition of historical importance, taking place in the city of Kassel, which attracts a global audience to the land of Hessian. And in recent years, as everybody is aware again, that this institution has been under tremendous turmoil. And we came together to do this task, to come 3 times to Germany and to seek an artistic director who, along with the team of Documenta, will be able to restore the trust in art.
We invited 13 curators from around the world to submit a concept, and we were deeply impressed by the depth and thoughtfulness of their proposals. We are delighted to have chosen Naomi Beckwith as Artistic Director for Documenta 16. We are confident that you will be as much inspired as we are by her proposal, which addresses artistic practices that gives us tools to think of possible futures together. We are convinced by Naomi Beckwith's expertise and international curatorial experience, and we all look forward to seeing her vision realized in 2.5 years. So I think now comes the most important part of the presentation. It's Naomi.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, my great thanks to the Finding Committee. This was a shock, a surprise, but also a great joy to hear that this estimable group of curators, these amazing people who I also look up to, whose work I admire and enjoy, actually had faith in the ideas that I have. It is an honor to be selected by a group of your peers, so thank you for that. I also want to thank Professor Dr. Hoffmann, and Andrea Linenko, wherever she may be, from the management team of Documenta for also facilitating me being here today. And my great thanks, of course, to the city of Kassel for not only hosting this amazing and historic series of exhibitions, but of course welcoming me onto the team for Documenta. I am really here today to answer questions, but I will just preface it all by saying that I have looked at every Documenta since Documenta 12. I was obsessed with the concept of Documenta from the moment I was introduced to it. There is no other project in the world that allows such deep thought, deep research, and close work with artists in putting together a proposition on what art means and what art can do for the world. It is absolutely a gift to be given this sort of platform, to think alongside other cultural workers, other curators, and other artists about, as the Finding Committee says, the possible futures that we can create together. I am really here as someone who is eager to learn about Kassel, eager to work with the team, eager to think about global practices from a city that is really quite global in and of itself. And so I just want to say from the beginning and from the bottom of my heart, thank you for the opportunity.
Dear Naomi, thank you for your statements. I now can give you the floor and can ask you to use the microphones that we have placed here in the room for your questions. Whenever you want to ask a question, would you be so kind as to mention the media you're working for and your name? So the floor is yours. First question.
Wow, no question.
I am Jens Wellhöhner from Hessischer Rundfunk, Hesse Broadcasting Station. We are very happy to have you, and I would like to know what you think about the last documenta. It was a very special one. It was a groundbreaking one. It was about exchanging ideas and giving a voice to the Global South. Do you plan something similar? What do you think about the concept of documenta?
Thank you so much for your question. And first, I will say that not only the last documenta, but several documenta exhibitions before that really took an amazing global turn. I would say, starting especially with Catherine David's Documenta 10, there was a real look beyond European practice and North American practices to artists across the globe. And that has really been an inspiration for the entirety of my career. Ruan Grupa was merely, I would say, the latest iteration of that. Clearly, there was a groundbreaking proposal, which was to invite artists, to invite artists, to invite artists, and really think about a kind of decentralized network for exhibition making. It was a great and grand experiment. I don't know if it's the most appropriate one for this moment, but I do admire the fact that Documenta has allowed artists and the artistic directors to experiment in ways that really put forward new propositions about how artists could and should be working in the world. So I'm excited to continue that global remit of this exhibition, looking to the global majority, looking to the global north as well, and putting these different modes of working and these different geographies and cultural expressions in conversation with each other.
Arndt Vollmer from Tagesschau, the national news program. Now you have full artistic freedom. How are you going to make sure that no more anti-Semitic and racist content will find a place at Documenta?
First of all, I would like to say that I actually have no tolerance whatsoever for any form of racism, any form of discrimination. No forms of anti-Semitism would be allowed in an exhibition that I put together, least of all for a great exhibition as Documenta. One of the things that I am very much committed to as a curator is being in constant conversations with artists. So I don't sort of invite an artist and then they show up with an artwork the day of the exhibition. Every exhibition is a deep collaborative practice for me with artists. So there are no surprises when I make an exhibition. I know the objects, I know the projects, I know the thinking of the artist even. And so I cannot anticipate anything that would be an offense to my values and my ethics as a curator. I will also say that I understand that there's really a great sort of process in place now, even on the Documenta management team, that is thinking about the ways in which we are all very carefully looking at what goes on presentation. But we also understand that artists have opinions. Artists have views. Artists will and sometimes want to agitate. This is a natural thing for artists. And it's really important to be able to balance those voices of the artist as a citizen. An artist is someone who cares about society. It's important to be able to balance those concerns with the context in which we are working, a context that really understands that there are ethical parameters and even legal parameters in place. And so being able to balance that at the beginning of the conversations around the exhibition is going to be really important for me and the artists that I work with.
Frank Weisenborn.
Frank Weisenborn from Kassel Free Radio. Normally, curators have 3.5 years for the preparation of documenta. You just have 2.5 years. Can you manage? Or is that a huge challenge?
I will say I begged for an extra year, but I'm afraid it's not possible. I can manage. There are other types of exhibitions around the world that happen every 2 years, every 3 years. It is not unusual at all to make a grand exhibition, even at the scale of documenta in 2.5 years. That said, I know there will be things that we'll have to adjust. We may have to rethink things like publication deadlines. We may have to think about the number of venues. But in terms of concepts, conversations, research, these things can be done. And again, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be able to do that.
Hello. I work for Monopol magazine, and if I'm correct, you've also worked with Okwi in Weser in New York at the Guggenheim, who's one of the probably most memorable documenta curators. I was wondering if your relationship to him also relates you to documenta, and if you feel that there's a connection to his documenta.
Thank you for that question, and thank you for allowing me to have a moment to honor Okwi in Weser. He did a monumental documenta 11, really setting forth several platforms around the world by which curators and his team were able to ask questions about what is the place of art in society, what is the place of democracy with art, how do we invite more voices into major conversations around art practice? I would say that his work, Okwi's work, was probably, besides some of the directors I've had in museums, one of the most influential curators for me. Altogether, I followed his career very closely, followed his project very closely. I did not work with him on that documenta. I was quite young at the time. But I followed, of course, the practice of that documenta. And it's so important for me to continue that practice of the broad international invitation. And the other thing that was very important about Okwi's practice as well was that he was not only interested in bringing in new voices, but he was very interested in asking, what are the kind of methods and ethics and practices that these new regions and these different regions bring to the world? What can we learn about ways of being in one part of the world that can affect the way that we think here? What gifts are given to us by these conversations? And again, that spirit is one that I bring to my curatorial practice now, and absolutely the spirit in which I will be conducting this work for documenta.
Guten Tag.
I'm Bettina Faschke from Hessische Allgemeine, that is the daily newspaper here in Kassel. Can you give us a little insight into the concept that you submitted, the concept that made you being chosen? What was the content of this concept?
Well, without going into my 10-page detail, I'm happy to let you know that I was really thinking about how one can get through emergencies, how one can move through a crisis, how one can move through transition. I believe that everyone in the world right now can relate to this sense that certain things feel slightly odd, unwieldy, maybe uncertain, undetermined even. And I do believe that artists have always offered us ways to work through crises. Artists are the masters at improvising, the masters at stepping out on faith with forms and with ideas and creating something anew, even when they don't have, let's say, resources available, or even when the parameters aren't very clear on how one should be able to work. So as we are in a world where we are trying to navigate intercultural conversations, where we are trying to navigate conflict, where we are trying to navigate a digital future, where we understand technology is moving maybe at a more rapid pace than we as humans can keep up, I think this is a marvelous time to turn to artists and their capacity for imagination so that we can all think about ways to navigate this oncoming future. So that was really, in a nutshell, my proposal. And again, I thank the Finding Committee for allowing that to move forward.
Jasmin Schwarze von
Jasmin Schwarze from Nordhessen Rundschau. First of all, congratulations. I'm very happy to be able to meet you here for the first time. And I think it's great to finally have a woman sitting in the front row. On a global scale, we see men taking the first seats. So congratulations. Are you going to also create projects for people in Kassel? Is it going to be a Documenta 16 where citizens of Kassel can have a say and can be involved?
Thank you firstly for the congratulations. Yes, I do take pride in being a woman. I'm not the first by any means to be in this seat, but I also am grateful for the women who have preceded me, specifically Carolyn Christoph Bakagiev and Katrin David. They are amazing, and I'm happy even to call Carolyn a friend. I also want to thank people who don't identify as women, who have been champions for women as well, as because it takes everyone to make sure that I am in the seat, not just other women. I am here to think about Documenta from Kassel. I think it is very important that it be located and rooted and active in this city. Kassel, as I mentioned before, is a locality by which you can see the globe represented here. It is an incredibly cosmopolitan place, and a place that has invited so many people from parts of the world over the decades. And so I am so interested in not only thinking about the global in terms of inviting people from other places to Germany and to Kassel, but thinking about how the global enacts itself right here within Kassel. Yes, part of the proposal, of course, is to think about programming. And my program is deeply rooted in inspiring conversations within this city. One of the things that I imagine that Documenta can do, and in the spirit of, as the Finding Committee mentioned, reinstate trust, is to really help people learn to problem solve again together and in collaboration. I think this is one of the things that the space of art allows for us to do, to come together in a space as citizens, as people who care about something bigger than ourselves, as people who care about a sense of the metaphysic as well as the physical, and be able to sit with each other in dialogue and in conversation. So if I can set in motion a series of conversations, dialogues, workshops here in Documenta, that will be part of the high point of this exhibition.
Christian von Busse, auch HNA.
Bruckner, my name also, Cultural Supplement, Kassel, HN8. The Supervisory Board decided that in the near future, maybe in the next 3 months, you talk about your concept and also about your idea with respect to human dignity, how to make sure that there's no discrimination in the exhibition. What do you think about this particular approach, which is seen in a very critical mood also in Germany? And to what extent and how will you do what they want you to do?
Thank you for that. I think one of the most important things that happens in the space of the exhibition, or any exhibition, is that everyone feels respected. And that means respected as a cultural worker, respected as an artist, and respected as audience members as well. I believe in multiple audiences being part of the exhibition, and that you cannot have a place where people can have these critical dialogues that I just spoke about unless there is true respect for human dignity, however you want to define that, in the space of an exhibition. Documenta is not the only organization that has undergone a rather difficult year and a half. You can name any number of museums, institutions, and organizations globally who have had to navigate these questions of how we conduct ourselves under a moment of intense political polarization. I've had to do that at my home museum, at the Guggenheim, but I will say that we knew from the outset that we had to set up a series of practices by which we understood what our values were, and that we could voice those values with my colleagues and with artists, even with our supporters and patrons and board members. And so I actually look forward to sitting with the Supervisory Committee and really coming to a real understanding and consensus around what kind of space of safety we can create with Documenta. I'm committed to everyone being able to not only enjoy it, but feeling free and open enough to enter dialogue in the space of Documenta. It may not be a dialogue that is always 100% comfortable. There may be some disagreements, but there will be respect. And that, for me, is of utmost importance.
Right now, I don't see any other question. Is that the case? Well, there is one more. Okay. Well, we would like to ask whether you could tell us a bit about the budget. I mean, it's difficult times for public budgets, but also for sponsors and the business world. So can you tell us a bit more about what you're working with right now? I guess I should have to answer that question. I'm the manager of Documenta. Right now, we do have a budget which amounts more or less to the budget of Documenta 15, 42.2 million euros. That's going to be the frame for our work. We haven't had the time to look at the details, but this will happen soon. Right, so if there are no further questions right now, I would like to thank you very much for your questions, and we are looking forward to your to the exchange with you about Documenta 16, including at a public conversation with the artistic director in the first quarter of the upcoming year, and we will invite you in due time. And this is the end of our press conference today. Thank you very much. I would like to thank the new artistic director of Documenta 16, Naomi Beckwith, and I would like to thank all members of the Finding Committee. I would like to thank Dr. Gremmels and Mr. Schoeller and the members of the Supervisory Board, but I would like to thank all you, dear journalists, for your interest. The press kit and the statements and further information about the artistic director you get at the exit. Thank you very much.
Very convincing. Very good.